Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Lumen Project. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Jeff Bernheisel. Hi, Jeff.
Howdy. Good to see you.
Howdy. Yes, sir. Off we go. Off to the races. Another episode. And
if you just listen to me and you don't see me, you don't know me, you probably think I'm just like some redneck where I'm like, howdy,
partner. Are you from Southern Oregon? Hello, folks.
Hello, hometown.
Yeah. Hey, good topic today. I feel this in my bones. I guess we can start with maybe framing it with the life you want versus the life you need. Maybe we call it something else later, but I'm definitely noticing as I'm going through the best life blueprint, there is a lot of, it's not really resistance, but I would call it more numbness. Like I'm looking at creating a framework for these pillars in my life: mind, mindset, body, business, relationships. And I'm like, a lot of me is like, yeah, I've done this before. And it's easy just to be like, yeah, this is familiar. Like, of course I want more money, more freedom, more sex, more better physique, all the things, of course. But then I think about like, yeah, but I've done this, like, and I think it'd be worth just talking about how have you moved from something that you're numb to being really engaged in it, because I think that helps us move from the life we need to the life we want.
Yeah. So back in the day, when I was in the same kind of in the same position where I like the word numb. When I was numb to things, I was pretty much borderline depressed and kind of just living life, trying to figure out what I was going to do. Like, I lost my sense of purpose, my sense of identity, and I was numb to a lot of things going on. And I was buying courses and books and all of the self-help shit that I could find, and nothing seemed to work. And a buddy of mine reached out. It's kind of a funny story. It's like the same thing that we're doing to our friends. Like, we're reaching out and saying, hey man, like, really think this could be cool for you. And I had that exact same thought. And I was just like, oh, just another thing I have to pay for. None of this stuff's working. I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And luckily I did it one more time, because that was where, going through that process in the like 2 years that I did it, that's where I actually created this framework from. The two things that really helped were, I had somebody there to kind of pull me, like I was just telling you, pulling or pushing, depending on how you want to look at it. But in his case, it was kind of like he pulled me along a little bit.
Yeah.
That, hey, I know this is going to be good for you, and I want this to work for you, and we're going to make this work for you. But the part that you're missing right now, like, I'm doing that for you. I'm saying like, hey, this is awesome. This framework is great. You're 100% sold on it. But you're feeling something where you're like, what is it? What am I missing?
Yep.
You're not doing it with anybody else. That's so the magic in what we're building is that we do this with everybody. And so my question to you is, would you feel different if I was like, hey, Chris, I'm starting mine. And I told you this, I'm actually starting mine in July. I have like 2 more weeks, but I can start a new one with the same goals and just keep it going. So like, it's the accountability thing, right? When we do this by ourselves, it's not as much fun.
Yeah.
It seems like work. It's just another thing we have to manage and do.
It's good. Yeah. Right.
But if I've got at least one person, and if not one person, like, it gets a hell of a lot better when there's 5, 10, 20 people that are all doing these same activity and sharing, and you're building off of that momentum. Like, that's where you get out of that funk.
Yeah.
Or the numbness. That's what I found. I mean, I can literally, like, I'm assuming it'll be the same for you. I'm speaking from my own experience. When I got to the point where I was like, yeah, this sounds cool. I should totally do this. I'm in. And then I start going through the directions and kind of trying to figure it all out. And I'm like, it's kind of a little bit of work. Yeah, I don't know. I bet I've tried stuff like this before. But then I had 10 other people going like, well, here's what I'm doing. Here's what and they're excited. Like that excitement that you feel from the other people, like, and you're pretty much good to go. And I think that makes a huge difference, which is one of the main reasons why like we build this framework into this community, is because it's almost like one can't work without the other. We could have a community of people that just want to get together and bullshit about all these topics, right?
Right.
But nothing really gets accomplished, and you're not doing your daily tactics to get where you want to be.
Yep.
On the other hand, we can have all the goals and visions and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where you are, I think, is like, we've got the vision, we know where we want to go, we know what we need to do to get there.
Yeah.
But God, it's just like something's missing. But you
Yeah.
put those two things together,
That's good.
like
Yeah.
magic happens.
That's really good. Yeah, no, I get that. I think there's two things coming up for me. One is how conditioned men are to be mavericks, to go solo, how unsafe it is to connect with other men like that. It's like it always feels like a pissing contest or some sort of a ego measuring something that makes it like we're just not used to connecting with other men on a similar journey or similar path. Like, I'm headed here, you're headed here, let's go together. That just makes sense, but we're not conditioned to really think that way unless you're in team sports, and that's fine. But life is not team sports. Life
Right.
is, you go to team sports and you're doing great, and then you come back to your life and you're going solo.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's honestly, I mean, this might be a little off topic, but not really, but like a lot of the guys that I know that are veterans that come back from military operations feel that lonely. Like they're like,
Yeah.
it's team sport.
Right.
You risk your life with your team instead of like trying to win a game of baseball. And then they come back and they're sad and lonely and broken and all of the things. And like, it's the same in sports and military and all of that. Same for us in the community. And it's funny because I've been in a few of these before where, it was kind of like it was more of a course or program, if you want to call it, and it had a start and end date. And the best ones that I've been a part of, you didn't want it to end. And when it ended, you were like sad, and then it's like, well, shit, now what do I do? Right. And the beauty of what we're building and the way I've built this framework is it's ongoing, right? So you finish your 12 weeks, your 90 days, you start over, because then ideally you're from point A to point B, and now your point B becomes your point A, and you start over.
Level up. Yeah, keep leveling up.
Yeah, and I mean, we say we're always in search of our best life, our best version of ourselves. Like there's never going to be a point where I'm like, well, I did it, I'm the best I could be.
And I think all the guys we would be speaking to are guys that are committed to living a bigger life. Like, if you don't want to live a bigger life, this would not be a project for you. Like, I'm not even sure why you're listening to this podcast, but like if you're like, I want to expand my influence, my impact, the size of my life. I want to expand that. Yeah. And in that, like me, you could feel numb to, it's more work or whatever that is, whatever the conditions are for you listening to this. But the second thing that came up for me was, the first part was just how we're conditioned, I think, as men to go solo. But the second thing that came up for me in the conversation so far is that if I get really honest with myself, I know that I'm better with others. I'm better when I'm with others. I'm okay on my own. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I'm a hard worker. I can do all that, but I'm better when I'm with others. And for 20 years in business, I did not acknowledge that truth, partially because of the conditioning and partially because I didn't trust people, because I'd been burned enough times. But I know about myself that I'm better with others. And to your point, like, I think once we're all doing this together, it will pull me into caring, because I just am more interested when there's others. And right now I'm kind of trying to be interested on my own independently.
Yep. And I mean, I don't know if you could say this is built into our DNA or not, but there's a competitiveness among men. And I've seen it go both ways, right? And so some of these groups that I've been in before, where we've done these types of exercises, you get the guy like me that's like, hey, I want to read 3 books in the next 12 weeks. And then the other guy's like, well, I'm going to read 5. And then the other guy's like, well, I'm going to read 10. Like, you're probably not. And maybe, I mean, if you can, cool. But, there's that competitiveness. That's not really what we're trying to build. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, where I was like, we got to set our SMART goals, right? So they have to be attainable. Yeah. So if you're like, I'm going to read 50 books in the next 12 weeks. Yeah. I mean, fuck, maybe if that's all you do.
Right. Yeah.
but it's not a competitive thing, but we are competitive creatures by nature, I think. And so when we get together in a group, it's that competitiveness to a certain degree that's healthy competitiveness, right? So, I'm not doing it because I'm trying to one up you. I'm doing it because I want to keep up with you, keep up with the Joneses, be competitive at least. And that, we learn that in sports from a young age. It's like, don't always have to win. I mean, I like to win. I want to
That's a good way to
win,
think about competitiveness. I like that.
but it's not always about winning. It's about getting the job
Yeah.
done, bettering ourselves.
Yeah. I remember it was probably mid 2000s, 2004, 5, somewhere in that window. I had a buddy and we had made some spreadsheets for goals and we were measuring it like every week. And one of my goals was to floss my teeth every day. And up until that point, I'd say I'd floss my teeth like a couple times a year. It was like,
That's
it's
so
kind of
funny.
gross, but
That's so funny. I
do you
just
have
was
that?
literally thinking about that like 3 or 4 days ago. I got the
Oh
postcard
God,
from my
that's funny.
dentist, and I'm always like, I've had bad gums. They always harp on me about flossing, and I
right,
do
right.
once or twice a week, but I'm like, I should do it every day.
Yeah,
I should
that's
put that on my
great.
damn.
That's great. We had the same spreadsheet. We were working off the same spreadsheet, and I would. It wasn't competitive. Like I'm gonna floss my teeth more than he flosses his teeth. It was oh shit, this is the game we're playing, and we both committed to it. And because he shows up, I'm showing up. Because I'm showing up, he's showing up. And if you frame competitiveness or define it that way, then yeah, I was competitive in that I was competing, not that I was trying to be better than or lord it over him or whatever, but that I didn't want to let him down or let myself down because this is what we said. This is the game we said we're playing.
Yeah,
And I, to this day, from that was like 2000, it's 2023 at the time. So close to 20 years, I floss my teeth every day. I may have missed 20 or 30 days in 20 years of not flossing my teeth.
that's so two
because
things.
of a spreadsheet.
Two things that are happening that you're talking about.
Yeah.
The spreadsheet, I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, but the tracking spreadsheet that I built for this framework,
Yeah.
it's every day you put your one in.
Right. It's great. Yeah. It's great.
You hit your tactic, you put your one in at the right side, everything turns green, right?
Yeah. It's great.
So that bringing on, like, if you're making it a competition with a friend, you're like, I don't want to miss a day.
Right.
It's how many days, how many days can we not miss? And then can I get that whole section over there to be green?
Right. Yeah, that's great.
The other thing just left my head, but it was I'm sure it'll come back to me in a second. But yeah, so I built that. Oh, it was the habits. So people don't realize that, subconsciously, as we're going through this exercise in the 12 weeks, and we're doing this daily tactic, you're building habits that literally life-changing habits. Like you can say, my life has changed for the better because I've flossed my teeth every day. My dentist loves me. I don't have bleeding gums. Like I've had to have multiple skin graft surgeries and all sorts of stuff with my gums. Like I have a gum, I don't know, like it's not, it's not like I have bad teeth, bad gums, but my dentist is always like, man, you need to brush and floss more. And I'm like, I brush every day. I floss a couple times a week. You've been telling me this since I was 12. Like clearly I have bleeding gum syndrome, whatever it's called. I'm like, the shitty part about me flossing every day, it just means that my gums are going to bleed every day. And that's not enjoyable and it hurts. So
until they don't, by the way, and you're stopped drinking Coke. So, I mean, that's got to help.
Yeah. And so that was one of the, not to go down this path, but that was one of the things she said. She's like, well, you drink enough soda, if you quit doing that, the acid will quit eating at your enamel and quit fucking up your gums and all of these things.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's two things I'm looking forward to is my next dentist appointment where I can talk to my dentist. Cause I was like, hey, I would love to get teeth whitening done eventually. And she's like, why? You drink enough Coke? She's like, that's stupid. Like you would be wasting my time and your time. And I'm like, thank you for being honest.
Yeah, right. Thanks for that delivery.
But then, and she's funny, by the way. And then my other doctor, my actual doctor that takes care of the blood pressure and all of that stuff, she's gonna freak out when she's gonna be like, you actually quit drinking Coke? Like you've been trying to quit drinking Coke for 30 years. My blood pressure's gone down, my weight's gone down.
Wow.
My hips better, so I can start exercising. And that's gonna be on my next framework that I start.
Yeah.
The exercise thing is going to be a big part of that because I haven't been able to do that for the last 2 months, 3 months, whatever it's been.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like I'm left in this conversation. I'm left with the you listening to this might think, yeah, I want to live a bigger life in all these areas, but I'm just not sure I want to commit to whatever the thing is. And that unsureness of committing is the thing I'm in right now about these 4 pillars of, mindset, body, business, and relationships. And the difference maker I know for me has been when others do it, if I like the people in it, I just will rise. I just rise. I rise for them. It's a band of brothers. I rise for those doing it because I like to be that guy who is doing it with other people. So you listening to this might be in that space where you're like, yeah, I want to live a bigger life. I don't really feel it in this moment. And the only thing I'd say to you, if you're wired like me, is get in it with us and
Yes.
let's see how it goes.
Join others.
Yeah.
That was the game changer for me. I mean, when I was in your shoes, like literally having the exact same thought when my buddy reached out and was like, man, this is another thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Another thing I have to do. And,
Mhm.
and he kind of twisted my arm and was like, I feel like this would be really, really good for you. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. In my mind, I was like, well, give it a shot. And if this sucks after a month, I'm out.
Yeah.
Now, a
Yeah.
month isn't necessarily enough time. It depends on what your goals are. If you have big, huge, crazy, hairy, audacious goals, the month might not be enough to get that momentum and to see the change. But if you follow the framework and set realistic, smart goals and all of the check-ins and the daily tactics, it should be, and you should, after a month, be able to see a difference and feel the momentum and keep going.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, is once you get to that point, you're like, okay, now I'm in.
Right.
What's next? What can I do next? And then after that, and after that. And that's where
it builds.
And we get to the point of, I mean, not to contradict what I said earlier about we're never going to get to the point of our best life, but the goal is to shoot for that.
Yeah. Right.
And we're bettering ourselves every day by 1% or.
Well, because a best life is a moving target. I mean, my best life in the next year would look one way, but my best life in 20 years would look another way. Like, just the best life is a ever expanding, conversation for what's next. But
that's the thing. Like when you're feeling like, oh, I don't know, this sounds cool, but and honestly, some people just aren't mentally ready yet. Like I wasn't ready to quit drinking Coke for quite a while. And then all of a sudden I was.
Yeah.
And I made that choice and I did it, and I'm still doing it. And that's an ongoing thing. And feel 1,000% better. But I just wasn't, last summer when I talked to that lady, I wasn't ready yet.
Yeah.
Now I'm glad I did.
Right. Yeah. Right. I don't think it's out of line to say, you listening to this, if you feel like I want to live a bigger life, I just am a little numb to it right now, to say that, if you tried it out for 30 days and then see if you know enough to say, yes, I want to live a bigger life. And I know that having some sort of mechanism to show up to, structure, band of brothers to show up to, is going to help me play a bigger game, then try it out for 30 days. Like, just jump in, like, give it a go. And then if it doesn't fit, like, we don't hold hostages. We're not like, oh, there's no contract you sign when you're here. Like, oh, this is 12 months. You're in, or for 12 months. Give it a go and just get in the motion,
Yep. Month to month. And that's kind of one of those things. Like if somebody does this and they get to the point where, like, they're like, hey, Jeff, I just feel like nothing's working.
Yeah.
Then I would say, I won't say I have failed, but maybe I have failed in our check-ins. Because when we do the check-ins on our calls and the things like that, and especially in the Facebook group, like if I see somebody that has unrealistic expectations and goals, I'm going to put it on myself to reach out to that person and say, hey, let's tweak these a little bit, because I want you to get results. I want you to win. I want you to keep winning.
Yeah.
It's not because I want to keep getting money. It's because I want to be surrounded. And this is going to sound super selfish. I want to be surrounded by some of the best possible people in the world.
Yep.
Because that's what brings me up.
Right. Yeah.
So, money aside, like we have to have money to live on and all that, but I want to have everybody in the group just killing it in life, because then we're all going to feel amazing. And, when you get that many guys doing this many good things, like it's a powerful thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, I think that's worth reiterating. Like this group, what makes this group most exciting for me is that it's a group of peers, a group of men who think big, who are doers, who are going to get stuff done. They're up to something in life. Like, and sometimes I think I've done a lot of work to just be super honest publicly about what things haven't worked for me. But I think it's common as men to think I can't show any weakness. I have to always I always have to puff and posture and look bigger than I am. And I just think I'm interested in being surrounded by men who are up to big things in life, that are willing to be honest and humble enough about where they're numb, where they can't quite find the groove about something, because that challenges me, that inspires me to keep looking for where else am I numb, and how do I bring sensitivity to the things that matter.
Yep.
That what a band of brothers. That would be incredible. Like there's nothing we couldn't do.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. You get enough guys together doing this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
especially, guys all over the country. It's like we will build a big network of family all over the country.
Yep.
That you can lean on and reach out to, and amazing things happen when we do these things together.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Takeaways. I'm going to tell people, like and subscribe to our podcast, first of all.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got the website, thelumenproject.com. Go there, sign up on the top to get the framework. And we didn't mention this earlier, like I give this framework away for free.
Yep.
But when you join the group, you get the tracking and the accountability and all of that stuff. And so, go to the website, sign up, get the framework, join us if you want the more accountability, like and subscribe to our website or YouTube channel, podcast, all of these things.
Yeah. I will say too, that you can get that framework for free, which is a huge bonus. And for me, the way I'm wired, the best version of me shows up when I'm with others, when I'm doing it with other people. So the community, I think, is ultimately the place where you will experience the most benefit, and the compounding of your actions. I think to live your biggest life is going to happen when you do it with others. But so try it out. Jump in for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Give it a go for a full cycle. And if your life isn't better after that, isn't expanded after that, then don't stay. But if it is, well, then all there is that, like you win. You win. So cool. Yeah. Good stuff, Jeff. Awesome. Well, great conversation. Thank you. Any last words?
Nope, that's it. We covered.
I think we did. I think we covered it. Awesome. All right. Well, until next time, everybody, be well and see ya.
See ya.